So hello everyone, we are back with another episode of Is It Necessary? And आज हमारे साथ हमारे दोस्त आदित्य हैं साथ में. And today we will discuss about a new topic, which is I think which we think is personally important for everyone to know, like who is Gautam Adani and why he is important. So we will start with the episode from the first question itself. Why is it necessary to discuss about Gautam Adani? So Aditya, what are your viewpoints on this?
Like Mayank, it is really necessary to talk about Gautam Adani nowadays because we recently heard the news that Gautam Adani became the richest person in Asia. Maybe that was due to just the market and stock fluctuation, but he still became. So he's still a force to reckon with. So we really need to talk about it. So if I talk about Mr. Gautam Adani, so Mr. Gautam Adani is basically from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So he till 12th he studied in Ahmedabad only, and he got admitted into a college for pursuing his bachelor's of commerce degree. But what happened actually was he dropped out in the second year due to his lack of interest in study and more interest towards the business point of it. So to learn more about the business, he came to Mumbai from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, and to learn about the business things and all, he worked under a diamond merchant to make sure that he gained some insights of the business, how it is done. And after working under him for 3 years, he really gained valuable insights of business and learned how the market actually works in practical scenario. So after 3 years, he started his own diamond brokerage company from which he made huge profits out of it. Not huge, but yeah, a mediocre profit out of it, which was enough to sustain the new businesses he was going to start in the future. So after his diamond brokerage firm, his brother invited him to join his plastic company. So in his brother's plastic company, what happened was his brother used to import polyvinyl chloride, that is PVC, from the other countries. So to get involved in that import export business was another a great thing, a boon for Gautam Adani, because he was already into a business mindset of thing. And when he got exposed to such a big port, such a big market of import export, he grabbed his horns readily into it. So we all have heard about the Mudra airport still being the largest operating airport in India. Sorry, port in India, not airport. We'll come to airport later on. So again, so after that, he kept on expanding. He made, Adani thermal power plants. He got into Adani Wilmar. He got into Adani Airport Holdings. He even got into Adani Retail, which he later sold on to Reliance Retail. So yeah, he really has come a long way.
Yeah, so what I think personally is that obviously like I have a huge respect for Mukesh Ambani because like the person who is, but like I'm a kind of person who appreciate the people who came from nothing, like from no background. So Adani जैसे like हमने बात किया कि उसका कुछ business का background नहीं था, and he came to Mumbai and he started, and then he started with his brother. So that kind of story inspires us. सो लाइक जैसे मुकेश अंबानी के पास लाइक ऑब्वियसली पहले से हेरिटेड बिजनेस था एंड उसके उसके ग्रेट डैड तो बहुत अमेजिंग थे ही दोनों, उसमें कोई इशू नहीं है. बट अडानी जैसे खुद ने स्टार्ट किया एंड अब वो इस लेवल पे आ गया कि वो कम्पीट कर रहे हैं उनको नेक टू नेक एंड लाइक सेकंड रिचेस्ट पर्सन इन इंडिया. एंड बीच में ऐसा था कि रिचेस्ट पर्सन ऑफ एशिया भी आई गेस मुकेश अंबानी एंड अडानी के बीच में चल रहा था कि कौन है. सो दैट इज रियली अमेजिंग. एंड इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द बिजनेस, सो आई थिंक अडानी का बिजनेस लाइक हर एक वे में फैला हुआ है. लाइक रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी में है, लाइक ग्रीन, लाइक जो सोलर में बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा अडानी का बिजनेस है. आई गेस इंडिया में सबसे बड़ा अडानी का ही सोलर एनर्जी का बिजनेस है. उसके अलावा पावर ट्रांसमिशन हो गया, फिर पावर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो गया, गैस में हो गया, अडानी के सीएनजी पंप्स है. तो ऐसे बहुत सारे टाइप ऑफ बिजनेसेस है जो बहुत मतलब अगर हम लोग एक बिजनेस पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें तो काफी प्लान और काफी स्ट्रेटेजिकली उन्होंने डिसीजन लिए है कि मतलब हर एक सेक्टर में उन्होंने अपने बिजनेस को फैलाया है, लाइक हर एक वे में. तो कहीं ना कहीं अगर कोई एक सेक्टर भी नीचे जाएगा तो कहीं ना कहीं दूसरा एक सेक्टर से वो हमेशा अर्न करते रहेंगे एंड आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे. सो दैट शोज के कितना अमेजिंग बिजनेस माइंडसेट है उनका कि उन्होंने पूरा डाइवर्सिफिकेशन का यूज किया. सो दैट वाज अबाउट द बिजनेसेस. सो अब आजकल कैसे है कि पिछले 2-3 सालों से हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि अडानी काफी ज्यादा लाइक न्यूज में है, बहुत सारी बातें चल रही है उनके बारे में. एंड जब से बीजेपी पावर में आया तो अडानी के ऊपर कुछ ज्यादा ही फोकस आ गया. एंड बहुत जल्दी हमने देखा है कि पिछले कुछ सालों में अडानी कंपनी एज अ ग्रुप जो ग्रोथ हुआ है वो काफी ज्यादा बड़ा है. तो उसके ऊपर क्या व्यू है तेरा? देखो क्या लगता है कि क्यों इतनी जल्दी वो इतना ग्रो कर पा रहे हैं, या क्या चीज है जिसकी वजह से उनको बेनिफिट हो रहा है?
That's a very valid question, Mayank, that you have raised. Now to answer this question, I really want our all young entrepreneurs to listen to this very carefully. That one very positive thing which we all young people from business, from young people from management, young entrepreneurs can learn from him is that he tries to solve the problem he faces himself instead of giving those problems to other to solve them. So what he actually does is that I talked about the Mudra airport. So there were two very main problems that Mr. Adani was facing was that he didn't have his own ships to do the import and export of the products of the petroleum products he was importing and exporting. So what he did was he bought his own ships. Okay. Then the second problem which he faced was, and because of this reason he bought the Mudra airport also was that there were whenever the ships from the outside came, so to make them unload there was lot the time was matlab bahut zyada time lag raha tha, that time taking was too much. So this is the reason again he bought the whole Mudra airport to make sure that there is a free pathway of his ships so that there is no hindrance. So even after the 1991 liberalization policy, when the central government of India was trying to promote the private sector, Adani was the one who jumped on to buy the airports and the ports and all of those other things. The second thing which we can learn again, like I would add on to the same point as, like we talked about Adani being diverse in different business portfolios, and we talked about Adani being making in a thermal power energy business plant. So what he did was to make a thermal power plant. What we need, number one, coal mines. So he bought coal mines in India as well as Australia. And the reason why he bought them in Australia as well, because he was never too dependent on one thing. If the coal mines of India get exhausted, from where the coal will come? It will come from Australia. A great strategy. The second thing is that he knew that to transport these coals and all things, he need to have a very strong logistic. So he started his very own logistics company. So the problem he was trying to face, he was trying to solve them on his very own instead of taking the help of any third party to solve his or her problems. So these were the main things we can learn from him.
Like अडानी, like you said rightly, like ये किसी और पे डिपेंड नहीं हुआ, and like अगर कोई चीज की कमी लग रही है तो he started his own business, his own sector in that. And what I think is that कि जब से आत्मनिर्भर भारत भी अभी like पिछले 2 साल से like बहुत ज्यादा हमारी गवर्नमेंट पुश कर रही है, तो अडानी now is in aeronautics and defense business as well. So they are like spreading their wings in different sectors, like as fast as possible. And what I think is that कि अगर हम लोग फ्यूचर पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें, like Adani right now have 12 ports in our country and 6 airports. So what I think personally is that कि airports and ports are something like कि if someone is controlling, so उनके पास काफी ज्यादा बिजनेस पावर बहुत बढ़ जाता है, बिकॉज हर एक कोई भी बाहर से आ रहा है या कुछ भी इंडिया से बाहर जा रहा है तो उनको उनके थ्रू ही जाना पड़ेगा. तो कहीं ना कहीं एक मोनोपोली टाइप मेरे को लग रहा है क्रिएट हो रही है. एंड व्हाट आई थिंक
And
इसके
you all
या
must have played that business game, that monopoly business game. And in
या
that, what happened actually was the one who had all the ports and airports, the revenue of that person doubled. So we can
yeah
relate it to it.
yeah. So like if we think upon the future perspective, so I think this is a great move. Like obviously like they want to create a monopoly, every businessman want to create some monopoly, but what I think personally is that there is a lack of competition from other competitors, because like there is no one who else is competing with them so aggressively like Adani is competing, like in taking over of airports and in taking over of ports. So now like about airports, अभी recently उन्होंने like 6 airports take over किए, and साथ ही साथ उनको like नवी मुंबई एयरपोर्ट बनाने का contract मिला है. So which is a huge for a new company, because they don't have any experience in airport making or airport handling. So what are your thoughts on this?
Like it's again a great thought. Like I talked about the monopoly, the one who had all the ports and airports, the revenue of that concerned person doubles. So we can think that maybe Mr. Gautam Adani is trying to exploit that same principle. So he has in his own hand 6 major airports of our country, and that too 2 or 3 are from the tier 1 cities. If I talked about the Navi Mumbai airport, the Thiruvananthapuram airport, so these are prime cities because the
Yeah.
traffic there is very much. And the Adani Airport Holdings is just below the GMR Group, the largest holdings for the which operates the Delhi Airport, the IGI Airport. So we can imagine how serious competition Mr. Gautam Adani's holdings are giving to every major competitors in their respective vertical fields. So, again, this is a very aggressive strategy, can work in both ways, can act as a double-edged sword. Because, when I was looking into it, that how this capital intensive business of Mr. Gautam Adani sustained, I came across that, he has a lot of debts of his own. So, there are two strategies by which a business can expand. First is the internal strategy, by the net profits the company has gained from operating the different businesses that the company has. And the second thing is either to gain a capital through the help of loan, or from window investors, or through banks, or through lenders. So the Mr. Gautam Adani's companies are majorly operating on debts, and these debts are something around 30 billion US dollars, if I'm not wrong, and that's a huge sum of money. So like, I'm not really very sure that till how can Mr. Gautam Adani can sustain this business practice of his own.
Mm-hmm. See, what I think is debt is concerning factor here because like बहुत सारा debt है. It's not something के छोटा amount है हो जाएगा future planning. But what I think is like कि जैसे $30 billion का debt है उन पे, but the way he has expanded his business, like if we talk about his business, so the major one is like renewable power generation. There is solar manufacturing, power transmission, power distribution, gas distribution, natural resources, for transportation, ports and terminals, logistics and there are airports, water, rail, metro and road development, data center and fruits and agriculture. So what I think is like they have a plan to how to take over that loan. मतलब I don't know why, but I am thinking positively कि अगर वो इतना बड़ा रिस्क ले रहे हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं उनके पास माइंडसेट में प्लान होगा कि इन कमिंग 20 to 30 years वो कैसे वो लोन को कवर अप करेंगे. But what I think is that as a management student, what we can learn is that कि अगर like if you are getting any opportunity and if like ball is in your court, तो तुम्हें रिस्क लेने चाहिए like Gautam Adani is taking as a company और हर एक वे में वो expand कर रहे हैं and don't depend on one particular thing. So that is how what I learned from like Gautam Adani. What are your thoughts on this?
No, no, very true, very true. Like, if I talked about Navi Mumbai airport, so how the an airport gathers and revenue, it's not only from the aeronautical thing that
Hmm.
happens, it also
Hmm.
from the non-aeronautical things that happens in the airport. For example, the retail shops which are there, the real estate thing which has been developed on the airport land. So, there are many major things from which
Hmm.
the non-aeronautical things can also generate revenue for an airport. And when Mr. Gautam Adani was asked by media that why are you seriously targeting the airports, so the statement he gave was that he wants to build, like, today Delhi is a hub around which
Hmm.
all other airports operate. So what he wants to do is that he wants to make sure that Navi Mumbai is now the new hub around which all other sectors operate, be it real estate, be it coal mines.
Hmm.
He wants to make sure that every other businessman who comes to do a business in India lands into his Navi Mumbai airport.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
again,
Hmm.
so that is again a very great strategy. Like, one thing which I'm a big fan of Mr. Gautam Adani is that the person sitting in 2020 thinks about the things happening in 2060. The person is
Hmm.
thinking 30 years, like, before the things get happened. So that is a great strategy. And the reason why people are giving money, why the investors are investing money in his holdings, because he simply has a clear vision in his mind that I'm going to make sure that my company reaches this position. And
Hmm.
like, with the persona of his demeanor, the like
Hmm.
investors are readily giving him the money.
Actually. So like from this, like I think we should conclude now. So like we talked about every kind of business Mr. Gautam Adani is having and like the future plan and how visionary he is while taking about his company and while taking about the development of the India itself. Because a company of such level develops a country like to like by providing so many jobs and so many infrastructure. So infrastructure mainly depends on such companies. So I think that there is a positive side of this and we discuss about depth and we discuss about the business factor as well. So I think like what we like every management student or every aspiring entrepreneur should consider his case study and should learn about the factors like how he came from the from the background which he was having and now how he is ruling the world. So I think that was all from our side. And if you have any ending thoughts, like you can conclude, Aditya.
Like, one thing which all again our entrepreneurs and we as a business student can, really inspire and take it from Mr. Gautam Adani is that he never said no to anything. Like, you talked
Yeah.
about Mr. Mukesh Ambani inheriting his some of his wealth from Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. But no doubt, Mr. Mukesh Ambani still has got such a wisdom in his mind that he has expanded and became the richest person in Asia. But still, he had something to start with. But Mr. Gautam Adani didn't had something. He had to start it from scratch. So
Hmm.
that was again a great thing. It is really inspiring for us as young entrepreneurs to learn to inspire from such successful stories. So, and even our government is trying to make sure that instead of they giving us the jobs, they are trying to make us entrepreneurs so that we give other people jobs. So again, a great example, a Picasso of the same, I would say,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. Hello, so guys. So that was all from our side, and I hope you liked this episode. And if you love this such kind of conversation, please comment down below, like, कि तुम्हारा perspective क्या है इस चीज को लेके, and what are your thoughts about such topics and on Gautam Adani. So if you want to listen such of more episodes, then you can like follow us on Spotify. You can subscribe us to on YouTube channel on Is It Necessary, and we post every new episode on Tuesday or 9 p.m. So thank you so much for watching. Peace out, guys. Thank you.